morning. Today we're going to talk about the coordinate plane. So we are in Chapter 5, Lesson 6. In your book, it's on page 396 if you want to go to it. So, Chapter 5, Lesson 6, the coordinate plane. You should have this on your notes. Again, divide it into focus notes. So we have our questions on this side and then our notes on this side. So first of all, the coordinate plane. What is it and how does it form? Okay, so over here I wrote what is it and how does it form? What is it? Here's a little picture. Okay, so this is what our coordinate plane would look like. It's pretty much two number lines put together. Okay, so if I have my number line here, 0, and I'm going out, so I'm 1, 2, 3. Over here, -1, -2. Once you go lower, it's -1, -2, -3 when you're going down. When you're going up, we're going 1, 2, 3. So that's what the coordinate plane looks like, okay? How does it form? You can think of it like adding a vertical number line and a horizontal number line. Okay, so imagine we just put these two together. If we put these two together, this is what we're going to get. Coordinate plane. Here's 0. Okay, so we're going to put these two together, but we're also going to put them together at the 0. Alright, so this is what we would get. That's how it would form. Alright, so in the coordinate plane, there are 4 different quadrants. So on this side, I wrote how many quadrants or sections. You can think of the quadrants as sections. Okay, so in this section right here, we're going to have quadrant 1. In this section, we're going to have quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay, this is how it's symbolized, the quadrants. You can think of them as different sections. So you can think of it as section 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on this side, we have all positive numbers, right? 1, 2, 3. Over here, we have all negative numbers. -1, -2, -3. Okay, so any dot plotted on this number line will be positive. Any dot plotted on this side of the number line will be negative. Well, how about up here? So we have 1, 2, 3. This is positive as well. And this is negative. Okay, so then if we plot something over here, it's positive. Plot something over here, it's negative. But with the coordinate plane, we can also plot something in this section. Okay, so let's make a little chart. Alright, so our chart is going to have the quadrant number. Okay, and I'm just going to write that kind of short quadrant, quad. And then we're going to have the x coordinate, the y coordinate, and we're going to have an example. Okay, if you want to see a complete table of this, where everything's written out, I would check out page 396. So I'll just write that over here, page 396 in your math notebook. Okay, so first we're going to look at quadrant 1. Okay, and I don't know if I don't think I talked about the x and y coordinate. So when we're making our number line like horizontal, we can think of that as our x coordinate. When we're making our number line as vertical, we can think of that as the y, on the y coordinate. So we actually have the x-axis, which is the horizontal, and the y-axis, which is the vertical. Okay, so I'm going to put that right next to it. So we have x and we have y. All right, so every time someone is talking about x coordinates, they're talking about something from this number line, okay, or they're thinking about horizontal. Okay, so every time you see x, think horizontal. Every time you see y, think vertical. So it's going up and down. All right, so in quadrant 1, our x coordinate is going to be positive. So the coordinates over here are positive, right? Because that's what I talked about in the beginning, that if you plotted something on this side, it's going to be positive. We only have positive numbers here. If we plot something on the y coordinate of quadrant 1, because when we're looking at quadrant 1, we're looking at this and this. That's what makes up quadrant 1. Okay? So the y-axis on quadrant 1 is positive. So an example of that could be 1. So we always put our x coordinate first, then our y. So an example could be 1 and 2. And that's how I write it. So I have my x coordinate and then my y coordinate, and they're separated by a comma. All right, so in quadrant 2, okay, and we're going to use Roman numerals to symbolize the different quadrants. So in quadrant 2, it's negative on this side. Okay, so you see -1, -2, -3. Our horizontal numbers are all negative. But our positive, or our y coordinate, all the numbers are positive. Okay, an example of that, if I were to plot something over here, because remember, we can plot on the line, but now since we've made the sections, I can plot something like over here, and I would know where it is. It's kind of like Battleship. If you think of Battleship, you're thinking of what quadrant it's in, what section, and then what its coordinates are. Okay, so if I want to plot something over here, it might look like -3, so I say the x first, -3 and 2. And I put parentheses around it, okay? So my x is -3, which is negative, and my y is 2, which is positive. All right, let's look at quadrant 3. Okay, in quadrant 3, we have -x. Okay, they're all negative, and then a -y. Because as you go down, it keeps getting negative. An example in this quadrant would be -2 and -1. Okay, so I looked at my x first. I chose -2, and then went down a little bit to -1. So if I were to plot that, it would be plotted right here. -2 and -1. Okay. Quadrant 4. I'll let you try that one on your own. So in quadrant 4, is the x positive or negative? In quadrant 4, is the y positive or negative? And then give one example. If you're really struggling and having trouble, go to page 396 in your notebook, and they have another example for you. Okay, so here's an example. If we had if we had our coordinate plane here with our x coordinate and our y-axis, x-axis, y-axis, okay, and okay, and I have all my numbers on the number line or the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and I randomly place a few dots on our number line. So let's call this A, B, C, and D. So this is dot A, dot C, dot B, and dot D. Okay, so we have to find out where is dot A. What coordinate is dot A at? So let's put that question over here. Where is A on the coordinate grid? Okay, well, we're looking at A, okay, we're going to look at the x-axis first. So where on the x axis and coordinate is it? Okay, so our x is going to be, looks like it's at 2. So if I look up from 2, this is where it is, okay? So our x coordinate, okay, and our coordinates are written as x, y. So for the coordinate for A, I'm going to write it as x, y. So the x is going to be 2, okay, because if I go up, it's at 2. And then the y is going to be at 3. Okay, so I'm really following lines to see where, what numbers, what coordinates my A dot is at. So this is for A. Okay, why don't you try B on your own? What coordinates are B at? Okay, go ahead and pause your video, try that. I'm going to write the answer right now. Okay, and if you are having trouble with this, remember, look at the x first. So our B right here, on the x it's at -2. So if I go down from -2, I'm at B. Okay, and then if I move to the right to look at my y, if I move to the right, B is at -2. Okay, so its coordinates are going to be -2, -2. All right. Now, one more thing for this example. Could you identify where 4 and -4 is? So we have the coordinates. So what dot is at 4, -4? So I want you to answer that. What dot is at 4, -4? So where do we start? Well, we know this is our x, and we know this is our y. X, y. Okay, so then on my x, I'm going to look for 4. So 4 is right here on my x. I'm going to put a little dot to show that I'm at 4. Now I'm going to look for -4 on my y. So -4 is going down, so I'm going to count -1, -2, -3. Oh, -4 is right here. And put a little dot. Okay, to figure out this coordinate is going to be where those 2 points meet. So if I keep going out from -4, okay, I'm going to keep going out. I don't know where it is yet. And then I'm at my coordinate for x. I'm going to keep going down. Okay, and you'll notice that these two, you can see that, these two meet up right here. So the point where they meet up is their coordinate. So they meet up at 4 and -4. Okay, so I know that the dot that is at 4 and -4 is D. Okay, let's talk about reflections real quick. So this is the last thing for our notes. Try to make it quick. So reflections. Okay, on the number line, so let's look at the number line again. Here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and here's -1, -2. This would be -3. All right, so let's say we are looking at 2, and I want to find the opposite of 2. Remember, we talked about opposites and how opposites, they're the same distance away from 0. So 2 is 2 steps away from 0. And if I go in the opposite direction, the other number that's 2 steps away from 0 is -2. Okay? So the opposite of 2 is -2. But also notice, if you were to fold this number line over, okay, with 0 being like the point that it's folded over, it would be in the same spot. So, remember this number line we did a couple days ago? Okay, and we folded this over. So if I'm looking at 2 right here, and I'm folding it over, the other 2 is going to lay right on top of it. Okay, so we can also say that -2 is a reflection of 2. Okay, it's the same distance away. So on the coordinate grid, when we're talking about reflections, and I'm asking you, find the reflective point of right here. Okay, and here's 1, 2, -1, -2. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that this line is a mirror. Okay, I have my 0 here. And if I fold this over, I should be at -2. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I'm folding that over just like it's here. And I fold it over, I should be at -2. How about if you had a point over here? What's the reflection of this point, which is at 3? What's the reflective point of 3? Well, I'm going to count how many spaces away from 0 it is. It looks like it's 3 spaces. So if I go another 3 spaces, I'm right here. Okay, so I went 3 spaces. I'm going to go another 3 spaces, and I'm at -3. Or if I just folded this over, I would be at -3 again. So -3 is a reflective point of 3. Okay, and remember, when we're talking about the coordinate grid, this point would be 0, 3, because our x is 0 and our y is 3, and this point would be 0, -3. Okay? All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.